Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I see so many people dialing in. Hi, everyone. Hello. Hi, Thomas. Good to have you here. Yes, the recording will be available. We will send it to you over email in the next 24 to 48 hours. So no worries. Please feel free to drop off whenever you want and have your dinner. Hi, everyone. So we'll just wait for a minute for others to join. In the meantime, please do say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're joining us from. We would love to see, where we have folks joining at this hour. Hi, Alison from San Diego. We have Daniela. Hello. Please keep sharing in chat where you're joining us from today. We would love to see so many people from United States. I see France, Amsterdam. That's great. Hello, everyone. Miami. I love Miami. All right, we have Michigan. So many people from different parts of the world. Hi, everyone. Hello. We'll just wait for another 30 seconds before we start. We just want to give everyone time to dial in, uh, do sharing in the chat. Great to see so many of you joining us today. Hello. Good, good. All right. Great to see so many people from different parts. Canada, Dubai, Portugal. That's great. New York again. Philippines. Wow, it must be a relatively odd hour for you. Thank you for making it today, Brandon. All right. So we'll get started. I can still see people dialing in. Thanks again for joining in today, everyone. Um, Let's get started. So, a couple of housekeeping things. The webinar is getting recorded. We will share the recording to you in the next 24 to 48 hours over your email. So, in case you have to drop off for any reason, in case you want to catch it again, you can do that. We will email you the recording. Uh, we You will be able to ask live questions during this webinar. At the bottom of your screen you will see a section called Q&A. Please use that to ask your questions and not the chat. We would ideally like to keep chat more for just conversations and not questions really. One of the biggest reason behind that is in case we are not able to answer your question today, Q&A helps us, keep a track of it. We know who asked the question. It helps us get back to you just in case we are not able to, answer your question today. So for any questions that you have, please keep sharing them through the Q&A section. Our amazing team is also here to support us answer those questions via chat during the entire session. So you don't have to wait till the end. As and when you want to ask anything to us, please feel free to put that in the Q&A section. All right. So that's a little bit of housekeeping. Quick introductions. My name is Mridul Bansal. I am a product marketing manager here at PriceLabs. My role is basically to the amazing features, the amazing tools, the amazing improvements that our product team does in the product. My job is basically to tell you all about it, so that we can improve your priceless experience, make it a better tool for you as a whole. That's in a nutshell what I do. I'm joined by my colleague Liane today. Liane, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Liana. I am a senior product specialist here at PriceLabs as well as a shift lead. What that means is that I'm the one that usually responds to if you have a query, a question, or you need some additional assistance or guidance. There's a high chance that you'll be able to reach me. I also do both group and personalized onboardings on occasion. So yeah, usually, if there's a question, there's usually a solution, and that solution usually is coming from me.
That's great, Liane. That's a great way to describe it. Well, cool. So yeah, that's about it. We are also joined by Khyati and Somil from our team who will be helping us throughout with your questions on chat. So thank you, Khyati and Somil again for joining. So quickly on the agenda for today, everyone. So today we will be talking about your data, your performance as your rental, right? We often talk about market data. We often talk about pricing, revenue management, minimum stays, all of these things. But there's another part which is equally important in managing a short-term rental, which is your own performance, right? Uh, Even if let's say there was a coffee shop around your corner, if you know someone of you are running a different business, it's very important to know how you are doing, right? So for instance, even with a coffee shop, it's very important to know how many cups you sold last month, how many cups you sold average on a weekend, maybe which are the drinks that sells the most, which is the drink that sells the less, things like this, right? So it's very important to know these some of these things, for any business you run. And the short term rental business that you are in, it's again important for you to know about the performance of it as well, right? I'm pretty sure many of you do that already. I'm pretty sure many of you try to do that to some extent and things like that. Today what we will do is we'll try to we'll walk you through, what is this data that you should be tracking, what are some metrics that you can track, how they help you, and then we'll talk about where you can do that, right? So we'll start with why data is important, what kind of data helps, what really you should be tracking, and then we'll go a little bit into how you can do that, right? With that in mind, let me bring my screen and take it forward. All right. You will have to give me a moment here and I will go present full screen. All right. So this is the agenda. So from guessing to knowing, seeing your rentals performance. And then at the end, we'll talk about this relatively new feature that we have, which is called booking insights that help you do this. So we'll walk you through inside your PriceLabs account. We'll walk you through how that works, right? Um, Quick plug here, we conduct daily and weekly trainings. These are live trainings which also include Q&A, question and answer with someone from our team. So if you are someone who's getting started with Price Labs especially, or if you're someone who just wants to brush up their basics of Price Labs, we highly recommend that you join these trainings. These are a great occasion to ask questions like this, in a setting like this where you can actually ask questions to our team live and get your queries resolved as well. At the same time, the very basics of using Price Labs are shown here. Swami from our team is also sharing a link to the same in the chat. You can go to that and you can register for any training that fits your schedule. We also have another mode of education or learning here, which is called PriceLabs Academy. This you will find inside your PriceLabs account. So if you go to your PriceLabs account in the profile section on the top right corner, you in that list you will see a tab which is called Training. When you click on that, you will land on a screen like this. We have added a lot of courses, videos, materials here for you to learn. Uh, these are not just confined to you being new or getting started, but these are also based on where you are right now with your journey with Price Labs, or what you want to learn. You can actually choose a course and do this. This is completely free and you can access it directly from your account. To clarify, you don't really have to do this training to use Price Labs. You can just get started, as most of you already are. You can just get started, maybe know the little basics here and there. In case you are curious, in case you want to learn more about Price Labs, you can join these, do these courses or join the trainings. All right. With that, coming back to our today's agenda. So, as I said, we'll talk about what is this data that we are talking about. What are three essential metrics you can track? What these metrics help you do? We'll also talk about how to track these metrics in Price Labs, which is the booking insights that I just talked about, and then we'll spend a little bit more time on Q&A at the end as well. Before I go there, I would love to ask you a quick question. I'll get there in a bit actually. But yeah, so with the data, you have, as a business, you've been running a short-term rental for a little bit, right? Like maybe a couple of months or maybe years in some cases. You already have a lot of data that, tells you, say, how much you are earning per night, how booked you are, whether you are doing better or worse than last year, things like this, right? So similar to the coffee shop, for instance, right? You already know which are your, months that sell more, right? You already know which are the nights that sell more versus which are the nights that sell less. You already know that, maybe for a certain month how booked you are, or for a certain week how booked you are. You already know that last month how much you actually made per night, right? So all of these insights are actually sitting with you automatically, right? And the goal of today is, just to help you find these insights, just to help you tell you what are these insights, and what are these metrics that help you and how you can do that. So a quick question here. I will just launch a poll. We would love to know a little bit about where you folks are right now. If you do track any of these, at the moment, and or if you don't track anything, or what do you usually do? You would see a poll on your screen right now. There are four options there. We would love to see you fill that in. All right, I already see so many responses here. Okay, I see a lot of people saying I want to track but not sure what to track, where to start, which is 40% right now. Then I see almost 28%, 30% people said I check my dashboard sometimes but not sure what to do with that data. Thank you again everyone for filling this. We would just wait for another 30 seconds for everyone to fill that in. Um, Wow. So it's really a tie between, more or less, a tie between I want to track but not sure what to track, and I checked sometimes but not sure what to do with that. So 70% of people have actually shared that. I'm not sure if there's an easy way for me to share this, result with you, but verbally, 40% people have said that I want to track, I'm not sure what to track. 32% of people have said I check sometimes but not sure what to do. 21% people actually said I track regularly and use them to make business decisions, which is pretty good. And, that's great to know. 6% people said I don't track anything regularly. So, well, thank you for doing that. I'm going to end this poll right now. All right, I still see one or two people filling in. And with that, let me end this poll right now. Cool. All right. Thank you for sharing this. So that's great to know. People are in different, stages right now. I'm glad to, know that. And I'm glad to see 20% of people actually do track everything and, make this business decision. That's great to know. I really hope that, today's session help all of you in some way or the other. So moving on to the three essential metrics to track, right? Now there are multiple metrics that you can track as a business, as a short-term rental. There are multiple metrics that you may see here and there, that you feel like tracking. But which are the top three metrics that matter the most, right? So we'll go into those. We'll see what these three metrics are, and then we'll go into detail in all of these, right? So the first one is ADR, which is average daily rate. Second one is occupancy rate, and third one is rev par, which is short for revenue per available room. So roughly these are the three metrics which are most important for any host to track, for them to understand what's happening with their business, right? Again, there may be many other metrics that you may want to track, you may see in your different dashboards and spreadsheets, but these are what matter the most, at least. We'll go into detail in each one by one. So first one is ADR, which is average daily rate. So it's basically average revenue per booked night, right? So it's basically on an average, how much money, how much revenue you are making for every booked night that you had, right? So you can calculate it for a fixed time period. So for example, let's say we talk about a month. Now, in this month, you are open for all the 30 nights, right? And you end up making $3,000, right? Out of these 30 nights that you were open, you all were only booked for 15 nights, right? Less the other 15 nights you didn't have any bookings. So in the entire month, you were only booked for 15 nights, and total you made $3,000 at the end of the month. With this formula, what this means is you will divide that 3,000 by the 15, and your ADR here comes to be $200, right? So it's basically total revenue that you made in a certain time period versus how many booked nights you had, right? So total revenue 3,000. I had 15 booked nights in that period. So my revenue, my ADR, which is average rate for per day, that daily, is $200 in this case, right? Why ADR helps, why we are talking about ADR is it shows you your pricing strength, right? So it shows you your ability to charge how much you are charging, right? So are you selling your, property? Are you selling the nights at a higher rate or a lower rate? It also helps you compare performance across listings, seasons, or events. Right. So it's a good indicator of knowing, when it's a high season, when there was a local event, or what is the ADR across different listings if you manage, maybe two or three or four or five properties, right? So for example, let's say for a weekend, maybe where Taylor Swift was in town, your ADR, if you look at just for that event, maybe for the 4 nights, your ADR was actually you made, let's say, $1,000 revenue in those 4 nights. So your ADR was 250 versus your usual ADR, which is, let's say, 200, right? So you can compare that on these nights of this event, I was actually able to sell the property at a higher rate. And how I compare that is by measuring the ADR for a different for my usual versus this particular event. right? And you can do that across different listings. You can do that across seasons, right? So for example, in June, my ADR was $200 a night versus in January, my ADR was $150 a night, right? So it just helps you understand how much you were able to charge during different time periods. So that's the first one, ADR. You don't really have to remember all the formulas, but it's just, a way of, just telling you how it is at least calculated in the backend. Next one is occupancy rate. Uh, it basically tells you how full your calendar is over a given time, right? Now, again, you can measure it for a month, you can measure it for a week, you can measure it for a year, any fixed time period that you want to do, you can basically measure your occupancy rate for that period, right? Again, what this means is booked nights versus total available night, right? So if we take the last example that took for a month, you were available for the entire 30 nights and you were only booked for 15, right? So your occupancy in that case would be 15 by 30, which is 1 by 2, which comes to 0.5 or eventually 50% if you look at the percentage, right? So in that case, you were booked for 50% of the time during that month, right? So when I calculated on a monthly basis, my occupancy rate for that month is 50%, right? Just total nights that you were booked versus total available nights that you potentially could have been booked can be calculated on a monthly basis, can be calculated on a yearly basis, seasonal basis, week, whatever, the period that you want to compare this for, right? Why occupancy helps? It helps you spot low demand periods. So for example, when we saw ADR, it is actually, a little bit on the strength, and how much you are able to charge versus what occupancy does. It helps you spot these low demand and even high demand periods, right? So for example, my occupancy for June was 85% versus my occupancy for February was only 45%, right? So I'm comparing occupancy for 2 months, and I can see that, okay, February was actually a low demand period because I was only booked for 40% of the nights that I was open for, right? Versus in June, where I was booked for 80%, 85% of the nights that I was open for, right? It also tells you if you're getting enough bookings for your availability, right? So if you're available the entire month, all the 30 nights, are you getting enough bookings, to maybe validate the availability that you have, right? So if you're available for 30 nights, but you every month you're only getting 5 bookings, is there something that you need to relook? So that was the second one, which is the occupancy rate. To sum up, basically any given period of time, how booked you were versus how available you were, right? So booked nights versus total available nights is what we call as occupancy rate. Next one here is RevPAR, which stands for revenue per available room, right? RevPAR is basically total revenue that you made per available night, either booked or not booked, right? Uh, there are multiple ways to calculate RevPAR. One of the ways to calculate RevPAR is to just multiply both the matrix that you calculated right now, which is your ADR and your occupancy rate. Okay, so what this means is, let's say in this case where we saw that you made $3,000 on 15 nights where you were open for 30 nights, right? That's what the example that we are following, right? So your ADR in that case was $200. Your occupancy rate was 50% or 0.5. In that case, your RevPAR comes to be $100, right? So it's basically how much revenue you made divided by total number of nights that you were available for, right? That's pretty much, how you calculate RevPAR. So it shows you, it combines both prices and booking performance, right? So it's not just one level, because in a certain month you may be booked only 10 days and you have, you had the ADR of, let's say, $400 a night, whereas in another month where you were booked for all the 30 days but your ADR was just $100 a night, right? So naturally you made more money actually in the first scenario. If you calculate both of these separately, you end up, trying to do a lot of math to understand which was actually a better performance or better output for you. When you mix both ADR and occupancy, it gives you a single snapshot of how you are doing financially. Okay. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was not a lot of formulas, a lot of technicalities. And you trust me, don't really have to know all of these. You don't have to understand all the formulas. This is just, our way to tell you, how this works. Just in case you are curious, just in case you want to sometimes, do that by yourself. This is just, a way, to tell you how this actually works, right? Um, all right, so I will move on here. I'll quickly check if there's anything on the chat that I may need to select. All right, everything looks good here. All right, now we will move on. So we've calculated all of these, matrix. Let's say hypothetically we've assumed I know now my ADR was 200, my occupancy was 50%, and my ref bar was $100, right? So I now have, all of this information about my rental, similar to how I would have for my coffee shop. I really want to open a coffee shop one day. So now I know, how my rental, how my business is performing as a whole. But how does this really help, right? What can I actually do with that data if at all I need to do anything? So there are multiple things, you can do with this. The first one is spotting gaps early. Second one is spotting opportunities, and third one is knowing what's working, right? So you can see where, things are maybe not going so well, and you can fix that. Maybe you can know what are some opportunities where, there's room for you to maybe do more, and then you also know what's working, right? We'll go into all three of these quickly as a couple of examples. So, spotting gaps, it's basically, identifying problems before they become costly, right? So, for example, you see that, okay, this month I feel like I'm not getting a lot of bookings, right? Now, what I can do is I can actually compare it to my last year's performance. So, let's say I compare it with my last year's October, and I see, was it the same last year? Was it actually better last October, right? Given that, I was hosting last year October as well. So I can maybe compare it with last year's performance. If I was not hosting last year, maybe I can look at previous months and see how that trend is shaping. And, is it really something which needs a fix, or is it just, what happens in every October with me? Let's say I have a lower ADR, for the bookings that I'm getting in December. Uh, Maybe I need to change the listing description to match my current season's trends, right? So maybe my listing actually says, great villa for summer getaway, but it's not summer anymore where I operate right now. Again, different season for all of you, but for where I operate, it is not summer anymore, and my listing still says summer. So maybe I need to change that or do something there to actually make it more relatable to what people and guests are potentially looking for right now, right? So it helps me spot these gaps. Now, just because I saw and knew that my ADR is low, I knew that I may have to, go back and take some action. It also helps about with opportunities, right? It also tells me what's happening, right? So for example, if I see that for fall, again, where I operate, I'm into fall right now, I see that the bookings are actually great, right? I compared with last year's fall and I'm actually doing much better. Maybe I can try providing some add-on services, right? Maybe when I can give some recommendation for restaurants. Maybe I can, provide some other services, some experience, anything on top of, the rental that I'm doing, because I already am doing good enough on the booking. So might as well maybe try to make some more money with these add-on services. Or maybe I can see that for the next 2 weeks, my week is actually, good. I have a fully booked, midweek. Maybe I can add a 3 night minimum, right? Because now here, I want to reduce turnover. I'm already getting good bookings. I'm already as booked as I would expect. So maybe I can add a 3 night minimum. Or if you're using dynamic minimum stay by PriceLabs, it does it automatically for you to a good extent. Last one here would be to know what's working, right? So basically, if you did something, did it help, right? So for example, summer is done for me. Did my summer outperform last summer, right? So this summer, how much I made compared to last summer, maybe. Let's say I did some property renovation early this year. Did they actually help, right? Because if I ended up spending, let's say, $10,000, did eventually my ADR or my booking or my occupancy increased? So that's where, I would know, if something is working for me or not. I hope that helped. I hope it wasn't a little bit too technical here or there, but the goal was, for us to just tell you, what are some metrics that, you can know about. I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know about these metrics, for those who didn't, or, even for those who knew, I hope this helped a little bit. You don't really have to know all of this. You don't really have to understand all of this, the formulas and everything. You can just use, one of the tools that you already use, and you can get all of this data there. But now you at least know in the back end how it works, and why it is showing you this data that it is showing. So with that in mind, I'll hand it over to Liene to walk you through, how to get about it, and, where actually you can, take these actions.
So, first things first, let me just quickly share my screen as well. There we go. I hope everybody can see it clearly. So now that we have covered what are the major metrics, the next big point is to figure out where to track all of them. And before we go a little bit deeper in where you can do that on PriceLabs side, we do have a very quick poll that we would like to ask you a quick question on where you do it currently. Are you using anything? If yes, please do feel free to add it in the poll right now. Oh, that's a lot of very quick answers. Okay, so at the leaderboard now, we currently have that your PMS, Property Management System. That is where you currently take a look at it. The next runner up is on the OTAs and Airbnb, like Airbnb's, Booking.com, etc. So happy to see that quite a lot of you are at least taking a look at your overall performance. Uh, we do have some Excel and Google Sheets fans, and there are also some manual and not really tracking it currently, but hopefully we will sort that out very, very soon and show you a very quick, very simple way how you can view this information. All right. Quite a lot of people have already given their
And I also want to
answer.
highlight here, Lian, that as Laura also pointed out, we don't have Price Labs as an option here, but if you do track it on Price Labs right now, please do tell us in the chat. We would love to know that. You may do it in Booking Insights or Portfolio Analytics, any of our current tools. So if you do that on Price Labs, please post that in the chat.
We, that is true. We do have quite a lot of tools, and we're always very excited to hear when people are fully utilizing them. All right. I think it has slowed down quite a bit. So I'm going to be closing the poll right now. So the overall winner was a PMS or a property management system. And the next runner up was the OTA or online travel agency. All right. So thank you all for sharing where you currently are taking a look at it. And now I will introduce a hopefully new and would like to say better option, which will be the Booking Insights. This is a quite a new tool or a tab that you may or may not have already noticed on your PriceLabs dashboard, mainly on your PriceLabs calendar, whenever you take a look at review prices on your listings. So the Booking Insights, what it is, it, as the name states, it gives you a very quick but a thorough insight on how your property is performing. So we will be delving a little bit deeper towards the end of the session, where I'll be sharing my demo account for some visual aid as well. But at the very beginning of the snapshot, you'll see one of the most important sections. It's gonna be the KPIs or key performance indicators for this particular property. So you'll be able to understand change in nightly rates, occupancy, and total revenue just at a very quick glance. Whilst you are tweaking your PriceLab settings, just a quick switch to a tab, and you can immediately see, okay, how was your performance previously? And you'll also be able to select different view sections. So whether or not you want to take a look at the previous or current month, you want to see year to year, quarterly, or there is a, let's say, the last 30 or 60 days that you really want to concentrate on, especially if you have recently implemented a new customization, a new feature on your property, and you really want to know whether or not it's working as it's intended to. The next section on the booking reports will be the monthly trends for both past and future dates. And on the monthly trends, you'll be able to see once more some of the key numbers. And you'll also be able to view the performance based on whether or not this month has been performing better than the last one or better than the same month last year. So once more, a great indicator, especially if you have already been on the short-term rental market for a little bit, you can see your overall growth on it as well. And good point here is that you can also see the future months. How, are they filling up already? Are there any gaps that you need to concentrate on? Everything will be very easily laid out. We try to simplify the view for it, so you don't need to go through a lot of the hoops to try and understand and grasp what exactly you are seeing on the dashboard. And last but most certainly not least, you'll be able to understand your calendar, how it is filling up, and you'll be able to also see what are your recent bookings. So once more, kind of circling back on if you have made any recent changes, any recent investment in your property, maybe you've updated the pictures for your listing and you want to see, hey, are my recent bookings looking any different than they were looking 1 year ago or a month ago at that? So you'll be able to monitor any new bookings and see how future months are looking. You'll be able to see key details to pinpoint whether or not the specific check-in, check-out strategy is working, uh, how are the length of stay looking. Maybe your current length of stay is for a truly short-term rental, so 1 to 2 nights, but you notice majority of your reservations are coming in at 3+ nights. So with this, you can also kind of build upon a potential strategy for your listing as well. So a lot of neat and nifty information you can gather from there. And certainly not the least, but this is mainly for if you really, really want to delve a lot deeper into, okay, how is my entire portfolio performing? Is there a specific problem listing that I need to pay extra attention to, extra care for? You can also view the information on our portfolio analytics tab. So both booking insights and the portfolio analytics tab are available for a vast majority of our users. There might be a very, very, very minute chance that it is currently not available yet for you, depending on the PMS or the OTA that you have connected with us. Though rest assured, our integrations team are working exceptionally hard to make these segments available for each and every one of PriceLabs users. So if you don't see it yet, don't worry, it's most likely is going to be coming in the near future. We just need to iron out a couple of things with your PMS before that. All right. And before I hop on to my demo account, just a very quick note regarding the portfolio analytics. Um, it is a free tool, and we do also have onboardings for it as well in case you do wish to delve a lot deeper in it. All right, so without further ado, let's just go quickly to a demo account. And as you can see, I am currently on the calendar view. I hope everybody can see this clearly. Let me just remove this so it's a little bit easier to see. And to access the booking insights, all you need to do is just switch to the booking insights tab. Hopefully everybody here can locate it easily. And as already mentioned, at the very tippy top, you'll be able to see your major KPIs, current selection for them. So currently I have selected it year to date. So starting from January 1st until whenever you're looking at this recording or today, the 9th of October. You can also set a different time selection. So maybe you're just interested in the last quarter, this particular month, last quarter, only this year, last month, or the last 30 days. So the last month would be, in this case, September, and the last 30 days would be from the 9th of September till now. All right, and on the KPIs, as Mithril already mentioned, you do not have to try and remember all the calculations, all the formulas for it, because you will be able to see them very, very simply if you just hover anywhere on the KPIs themselves. The team did put a lot of effort into making this as accessible as possible and as easy to understand as possible. So here you'll be able to see your overall revenue for the listing. And if you hover a little bit lower here on the little eye icon that stands for information, you'll also be able to see how exactly it was calculated. So just need to preface this before we hop on and dive a little bit deeper, that these numbers might make zero sense because these are fake bookings, fake reservations. I wish my revenue was this high for this imaginary property. Hopefully yours is a lot higher than that. But yeah, if you see any dates, any numbers that make zero sense, pay no mind to it. Your booking insights should look a lot better. All right. Moving on, you'll be also able to see your overall listings occupancy. So once more, currently we are looking at year to date. So from January 1st until October 9th, I am at 69% occupancy throughout the entire year. And once more, if you just hover on top of the number, it will give you a thorough breakdown on how did we come up with this occupancy, were any block nights considered or not, and any additional math that might be going in here. And the last but not least is the ADR, so the average daily rate for my property, where we were taking the revenue and dividing it by the occupancy. And here we were getting the overall ADR as well. All right. The next segment of the booking insights is the monthly performance trend. So here, once more, you can select how you would like to see this graph. So you can just check on this particular year. You can see the last year. As you can see, don't have a lot of activity on it. You can select the last 3 months and the next 9 months, just in case you want to take a very quick peek at what was happening very recently. The last 12 months, if you're just looking at what actually the year ago, or if you're forward looking and you want to see how your listing is performing for the next 12 months, you can also do that. And as you probably, hopefully, noticed, depending on which segment you select, you'll see the current month jump up and down, but this is also a very quick and easy way to identify, okay, this is the current month, this is how we are performing now versus the last year at the same time, both with the revenue, occupancy, and ADR. So it pretty much just breaks this entire segment into a bit more digestible tidbits. All right. You are also able to download the CSV report. As I do remember, we did have a couple people that were using Excel spreadsheets to track their revenue. This might be quite useful for you as well. And next, we are also able to see at the very bottom the recent bookings. So here, if your PMS allows it, we'll be pulling through your most recent bookings. When was the booking made? What is the check-in, check-out dates? How long was the stay for? The rental revenue, the total revenue. Once more, this doesn't really make sense because I haven't added any fees or taxes on my reservations here. The ADR, so average daily rate, once more, and as well as the booking source. So if you are using a PMS or a channel manager, here you might be able to see, okay, this reservation came in from Airbnb. In my case, I have other because I have selected my personal booking website. You might be able to see booking.com, VRBO, any other platform that you're currently using. Or if your listing is purely connected to Airbnb, then obviously the booking source will just be Airbnb. And that is all that you can see on the booking insights. I say that is all, but there is quite a lot of information, quite a lot of sections that can help you navigate and see how your overall performance, how your overall listing was doing, and how it is doing looking for future dates as well. Now, this all is a snapshot of what you can view in the portfolio analytics. Now, I don't want to go up too deep into the portfolio analytics section because that can get a little bit overwhelming as there are a lot of graphs, segments, and for majority, it's not really necessary. But if you're really interested in numbers, you can simply click on the Open Portfolio View and it will bring you the KPIs and the monthly performance on your portfolio analytics. As you can see, there's also the option to click from the top view as well. So if I click on this, it will automatically bring me to the portfolio analytics where you'll notice quite similar KPIs, but they are delving into a little bit more detail. So if you really want to uh, see what is happening throughout your listing month by month, or if you're looking at a specific portfolio and you want to pinpoint whether or not a particular listing is falling behind, you can also see it on the listings performance views. So there's a lot of sections, there's a lot of options to see, and a lot of information. But today we are mainly concentrating on the booking insights, which is a more digestible view. All right, and with that, I think we can go to present now again. And I would just very briefly like to mention the main takeaways of this session. So, if you haven't yet started tracking or measuring your listings over performance, we do highly suggest that you start doing it from today, especially because our team has tried very, very hard to make it super easy and super understandable to go through it. So, tracking your performance gives you insights on how you are performing, if there is any room for improvement, or maybe additional changes that you could implement to make every single month better than the last month. With the three essential metrics, ADR, occupancy rate, and RevPAR, you can get enough insights to build upon with your pricing strategy as well as your minimum stay strategy. Uh, how to use the metrics? We did cover this at the very beginning of the section. You can use them to see where there is any wiggle room for improvement when it comes to your minimum stay restrictions as well as your nightly rates overall, and the booking insights for a list level tracking. So if you really want to take a deep dive in how a particular property is performing, how it is performing now versus in the past versus in the future, booking insights is the way to go, and we can't recommend it highly enough. All right, and with that, I think I will get off of my soapbox. And Midrul, if you have anything that you would like to add, or if there are any questions from our viewers today, we'd be happy to answer.
Indeed, and I think so. Obviously, there are a lot of questions. Thank you, everyone, again for asking these questions. We hope we are able to answer these. Um, in terms of session, we are more or less done with what we had to present today to all of you. There are some questions that we still stay here and answer for a couple of more minutes. If you want to drop off, please feel free to do that. Again, the session was recorded. We will be sending you the recording in the next 24 to 48 hours. In case you want to stay back, ask questions, or know the answers to the questions that others have asked, please do stay. Leon, I can see some questions which are repetitive, and I think maybe we can answer those. So, for example, Laura has asked, does PriceLabs pull info from other booking platforms other than Airbnb as well? So, Laura, I assume you're talking about Booking Insights. Indeed, so we cover information from everywhere you have that listing connected. So if you have connected that listing, so as you would have noticed, we went into a calendar and of that particular listing and then went into Booking Insights. If you have connected that listing via a PMS, a property management system, then we pull information from that PMS. So eventually all the booking platforms that you have connected with that PMS are there. If you've connected the that listing via a direct connection like Airbnb or Booking.com or Verbo, then we pull that information from that connection. So it depends on how you have connected that listing to PriceLabs, and then eventually we pull information from there. Extending this answer, I also saw a question from Steve where Steve asked, I have a Booking.com listing, but what's the best, most affordable channel to use for it? Steve, I'm assuming you are asking in terms of dynamic pricing. So just want to highlight that PriceLabs now connects directly with Booking.com. In case you are present on Booking.com or you use Booking.com, you can connect that directly to PriceLabs now. It's a very simple connection, similar to how we have with a few other platforms. And we have help articles and videos around how you can do that. So you can connect a Booking.com listing directly to PriceLabs in case you do not use a property management system. Uh, Another one, let me see. Laura has asked, what's the difference between year to date and this year? They return different KPIs. Laura, that's a great question. So year to date is basically as of today. So which means year to date today would be 1st January to 9th October, versus this year would be the future as well. So this year would be 1st January to 31st December, right? So this year calculates the future bookings that you have as well, the future numbers, right? So your ADR would adjust based on the bookings that you have from now to December as well, whereas year to date is only for bookings till 9th October. I hope that helped, Laura. Manali has asked, how can you show us how to track that in Price Labs? I hope that was answered, Manali. Uh, Lian, if you don't mind, can we spend a minute quickly showing everyone? So I see a question from Yara, where can I compare myself in terms of others listing in the same area? Lian, do you mind spending a very quick minute on neighborhood data to just
Yeah, of
tell people about
course.
it?
Let me just
I
go
think
back.
Daniel or someone had the same question
Mhm.
as well, so perhaps we can help answer that.
Yes. So, just to make things very simple. If you are on your pricing dashboard, all you need to do is click on review prices to open up your pricing calendar. And from there, you can select the neighborhood data. So as hopefully everybody knows, whenever you import your listing to PriceLabs, we automatically pull the closest listings to your property, both in location and the bedroom size. We try to go to around 350 properties, and we're using those listings to check on the seasonality, check on the demand, and check on the different pricing segments. So if you want to see where your listing would land in comparison to them, you can go to the neighborhood data and see in the future prices and occupancy graph. Once more, this is a demo listing, so the prices are all over the place. Hopefully, such spikes are not visible on your side. But let me just make it a little bit easier to understand. So let's say the next 30 days. So if you want to see how your pricing compares to the rest of the market, you can simply refer to the future prices and occupancy graph. The different color segments that you'll see in the background, so the gray, dark pink, and light pink, are the three different pricing segments, so economy, mid-scale, and upscale. And the black line is the prices that the Price Labs will be sending to your PMS or to your OTA if you click the Sync Now button. Now, a lot of the times, this line will also be very similar to the one that we already sent over yesterday and day before, unless there's a massive change in the market. Let's say a new concert has been announced, then you might see a bit more effective shift in that. So if you just want to see where your prices land, this is the best way to view it on the future prices graph. If you want to check regarding the occupancy, you can refer to the occupancy graph here. Now, this has a lot of lines and it can get a little bit confusing at times, but the simple explanation is if the background is solid gray, that means that you have a reservation or a block on your property. If it is white, that means that there is some room for potential opportunity or for a reservation. And the colored lines that you see the red line indicates the market's current occupancy, so how many properties are currently booked for any specific date. As you can also see it in the little tooltip, it breaks it down. And the dark gray line indicates the market occupancy last year. So if you once more, similarly to the booking insights, if you want to compare the performance, you can also compare these lines and see, okay, is the market performing better or worse than it did last year? So these two are kind of the main ones if you want to just check on where your listing lands in comparison to the rest of the market. There are also a couple of additional ones that you can also view. I'm not sure if we have time to cover everything in the neighborhood data segment, but I do recommend everybody to check it out, as we also have uh, the AI insights that can break it down and explain it explain it a little bit better, maybe what you can see on the graphs, how to read them as well. I hope that answers that question.
I hope it does as well, Lian. Thank you for answering that, showing us that. Yara, I hope this answers your questions. I think Daniela had the same question. I see Laura asking, in neighborhood data, can you pick a comp set, compare yourself to that comp set? I don't use a PMS. So, Laura, again, in neighborhood data, similar to what Lian shows, if you scroll down even more, you can, find what we call as competitor calendar. You can go there, you can pick some competitors that you want to map yourself against, or rather compare yourself against, and you can do that via a map or their listing ID, Airbnb listing link. So this is where you can pick those competitors as well. So yeah, I hope this helps. Let me see if there are some other questions that we can quickly answer. um, so Lian Kyle in the chat has asked, when looking on Booking Insights tab, is there a way to see all listings together instead of each one individually? I have only one property, but I have it listed on Airbnb, Verbo, and Booking with no PMS. So I have a parent and two child listings. I'd like to see all the Booking Insights for all three together. Is there a way to do that?
Okay, that's a fantastic question. So, booking insights are uniquely per listing basis. So, with the booking insights themselves, you won't be able to see all three together. However, this is exactly where the portfolio analytics come into play, because in the portfolio analytics segment, I can just very quickly show you can actually select multiple listings. So in your case, it would be your parent and the two children, child listings, and you can see all the information together. So portfolio analytics is the place where you want to go to see everything together. Or if, for example, you just want to see the parent and one of the children, you can also select that and only view the information that corresponds to those listings. But for booking insights, it's exclusively per listing basis. Though if your listings are mapped, at least regarding the occupancy, you should be able to see similar data. But once more, the best place would be the portfolio analytics.
Okay, right. Thanks, Lee, and I hope that answers Kyle's question. Uh, Laura had another question as well, which was a bit before. Sorry, Laura, we couldn't pick that up earlier. It says, does an occupancy rate also point to market lows? If my prices are too high, my occupancy might be lower than the market. Doesn't RevPAR mean more? That is correct, Laura. So occupancy rate also point to when the market is low, right? So for example, for Feb, maybe the entire market occupancy is low, and if your prices are too high, your occupancy might be lower than the market even as well. So indeed, calculating RevPAR at this point is a good way to know how you are doing overall. uh all right, now I think, I mean, obviously there's just so many questions coming in. All right, let me see if there's anything which we can quickly answer on the screen itself. Obviously, for other questions, our team is anyway answering them via chat, and for things we can't answer today, we are always there on support at PriceLabs. Um, All right. Just want to clarify. I think one common concern I saw here and there, in case the numbers that you see on Booking Insights versus your price labs, sorry, versus your PMS or OTA. Lian, what do you say would be the way to go ahead then? So maybe the revenue number that I see on Booking Insight is different than what I see on my PMS, for instance.
So the quick and simple is usually reach out to support so we can check whether or not we're able to, what type of revenue are we pulling through? Are we pulling the true revenue or are we pulling the entire revenue? So whether or not it is just your nightly rate for the property, excluding all the tax and all the fees, or whether or not it is including all of those factors. So that is usually where some changes might happen in the numbers that you see, depending what we are able to pull through, which does depend on the type of the connection that you have with us. So for some PMS, some OTAs, it's going to be the one. For the others, it's going to be the other one. But if you do see any significant inconsistencies, do reach out to our support, and we can always double check and verify that everything is, working as it should.
Great. Um, Laura, I hope your question about parent and child is answered now uh, via portfolio analytics with Verbo and Airbnb that you have. So I hope that helps. Uh, Michelle, I added a PMS in August Logify and my data from past year and data is not correct, isn't reporting correct income for the year. Can this be fixed? Michelle, as Leanne mentioned, in case you feel that your data is different and incorrect, than what you are seeing, please do reach out to us at support@pricelab.co and we'll be more than happy to look into it, look into your account, see what the issue is and resolve it for you. All right. Okay, let me see if there's anything on the chat. Amy, I hope that helps. So yes, please do reply to email. Our specific team can check that for you. And we would love to have you there as well. Uh, Liam, there's a question by Vera on chat, which is Price Labs newbie here. Hi, Vera. Welcome to Price Labs.
Hello, Vera.
Is it possible to find data of actual price paid for each day after discounts, promotions, etc.? On Airbnb, it is complicated to figure that out as monthly payouts depend on the day of payments are sent, which doesn't give an accurate picture of monthly or weekly performance because longer bookings can skew this metric greatly. Lean, do you
Uh,
want to answer that for Vera?
mhm. So, for Airbnb, I do believe this is, if I'm not mistaken, for Airbnb, you already should see the ADR on the calendar itself. Whenever there is a reservation, that should be the pure ADR without the fees and with discounts already pulled through. Additionally, I do believe we have this available for the portfolio analytics for Airbnb as well, because we are getting the information of the purely what the user was paying for the property. So, um, or, oh, I might be misunderstanding the question. That could also be actual price paid for each day after discounts promotion. So yeah, so we are just pulling through the actual number of the price that was paid by the user, or that was set to the user to be paid when the reservation was made. So even let's say if your price was set to $100, but the user had a, let's say, a discount code of 10%, they will be paying $90, which is the amount that we will be pulling through from the system. So those numbers should already be without any discounts.
All right. Cool. That is great, Liane. I hope that answers the question. All right. So we'll just quickly take one or two more questions. Um, Once I sign up, would you offer any assistance during setting up my listing on your platform? Is what Daniela is asking. Indeed, Daniela. So as we said, we offer daily and weekly live trainings. Please do join those. They offer these live Q&A as well. If you're not able to help you and resolve your questions there, we are always there on support@pricelabs.com. You can always reach out to us there. Um Laura, quickly, not clear for me, even though they are mapped as parent child, booking inside won't be helpful because it does not show. So Laura, again, for parent and child, you can go to portfolio analytics, and ideally you should be able to see insights for both Airbnb and Verbo parent child in portfolio analytics. So we hope it shows you there. Again, if it doesn't show, please do feel free to reach out to us. Uh, yeah, Daniela, they are not specific to your listing. They are live trainings where we walk you through something, and then we answer your questions like this. But again, if we are not able to answer them there, you can always reach out to us on support, and we'll be more than happy to help you there. With that, unfortunately, we are on time today. We really appreciate all of you asking such great questions, and we hope we were able to resolve all of these. Just to sum up, these some metrics that are there, which you can track, help you run your business better. You don't really have to necessarily change your pricing or minimum stay. PriceLabs does all of this for you on itself. It's just these metrics, this data help you understand a little bit more about your business. That's all. I really hope this was helpful. Thank you again for joining in. Thank you for asking all of these questions. We really hope this was helpful. If you were not able to answer your question today, if there's anything else that you need help from us, please feel free to reach out to us on support@pricelabs.co. Our team is very quick with response. Team members like Lian, Khyati, and Somil who are here as well today, they will ensure that we get right back to you as soon as possible. Thank you again for dialing in today. We really appreciate your time. Thank you, Lian. Thank you, Khyati. Thank you, Somil. And thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.